First, thank you. Just like you say, that is the end of the road for Africa, and like we normally say in the Midwest, it's appear that the women are being separated from the girls.
Exactly.
So the girls have been set packing while and left those who have mistakes to remain in the competitions. And for Africa teams, yes, kudos to Africa team. No, though not too impressed, not too satisfied with their performance. One would have wished that at least having have a three Africa team in the round of 16, we at least have one in the last among the last 8. But unfortunately, all the Africa teams sent packing. Why we still have the I think the South African have Colombia.
Okay.
South Africa have South American have Colombia.
South America have
Colombia, and the Asian have Japan.
Yeah.
And then it's been dominated by Europe. Europe is dominated by Europe. But looking at African performance, like you say, the Super Falcons have lead the way, and a whole lot of things are still thumbs up for the Super Falcons. For the fact that yes, the Super Falcons for the first time went to this competition without tasting any single defeat.
Exactly.
Even the defeat to England yesterday, it was penalty is anybody's game. It can go to anybody can win. But the fact that the Super Falcons held their own, stand still, play the game for 120 minutes without conceding a goal against the European champion, clearly shows that African has come of age. And a whole lot of people, I was reading the documentary where from a foreign media where they were practicing a praise of African team. And for the first time, we have African team in the last last round of 16. Is the competitions that for the first time it was expanded to 32 teams out of the 32 teams that go into the competition. And just like you see in the competition that where you have the heavyweight women football power, team like Germany, Canada, the USA, Norway, all exiting the competition in the round of 16, and to have in the preliminary round of the group stage, and to have Africa team, which like you said, Morocco is coming to this competition for the first time, apart from Nigeria, who has been a perennial appearance, participant in this competition. Even South Africa just they have made their appearance before, but they are not as frequent as Nigeria is always in. But for them to come, and out of the 4 teams from Africa has 3 teams in the round of 16. But it's so unfortunate that we couldn't have any of them progressing beyond this, and we still thumbs up for the fact that Falcons held their own against the European champion. But I was a bit disappointed with the way I thought that that the Moroccans after their first whitewashing to Germany in the second match held their own big strong, and then drew their last match against the Colombia. I think that they put up some major performance against the France, but unfortunately they were easily brought aside by the France. But you see, an experience. I also commended them. It is a good performance, and we hope that Africa will be able to build on from this achievement going forward. I trust that Morocco, their football in terms of from every round of repetitions have improved drastically. Like their men held on to the semi-final of the World Cup, but these ladies who are coming for the first time couldn't make it. But the fact that in their debut and they make to the second round is a big achievement, and I give kudos to them, despite being brought aside by the French team in the round of 16.
I mean, like you rightly said, even the coach, Ron Waldron, I think speaking after that match, had said, look, as long as it's concerned, the Falcons did not lose any match. And that's the truth of the matter, you know. And it's even more interesting that we just considered, I think, just 1 goal.
We considered 2 goals against Australia.
Two goals against Australia, yeah, exactly. You know, so for me, I think it's something that can be built upon, you know, going into... First, of course, we'll have to start preparing for the next African Women Championship. Then from there, we can see what we can build upon. And you can see that the introduction of a few, you know, fresh legs into the team has actually rejuvenated the team. Because when you look at the Falcons prior to this competition, because a lot of people had called for some new players to be injected. And I think that really worked.
Even some of us, including myself, have one of the people have even called for Andrando to be shot. That he doesn't have what to manage the team. Because sometimes it is, and I also commended the Nigeria Football Federation forgive him that a long time and give him a long list of match to play. He played several matches without winning anyone, and he keep on playing, keep on experimenting his thing. And at the end of the day, he was able to put up a team that was able to do Nigeria proud. And everybody now, some people are even suggesting that he should be upgraded to the Super Eagles, But it's kudos. I commended the Nigeria Football Federation for staying with Random and giving him all the programs to organize several friendly matches when they enable him to test his team and test his team, and then they was able to put up a very solid team that was able to do Nigeria. Just like you say, this Nigerian team, just unfortunately that we crashed out of these competitions to ill luck. Because I consider to ill luck to England. This Nigeria, there's no any teams. I can be corrected, but I strongly can stand with my point that this Nigerian team is as good as any other team in this competition. There's no any team in this current ongoing FIFA World Cup that can beat his chest that Nigeria is supposed over to him. To them. Yeah. Nigeria can stand with any team, and if we just agree, we can face any team in this competition. And what's just like I hope the Nigeria Football Federation, based on the program they give to our 120 years, will do well, and we want to be able to do more to keep this team, keep on working on this team, so that before the next 4 years, who knows? The next African Cup of the next African Women's Championship is coming up next year, or probably in 2 years' time. We should be able to bounce back and to regain our dominance in the African football. And we should see that from this competition, we see that even African women football, Nigeria used to dominate, is no longer there. We see several clubs, several teams coming up. South Africa is now a big challenge to us. We always talk about South Africa before. Now we now have Morocco. We now have Morocco to contend with. We now have Zambia to contend with, and many others who do not even make it to the World Cup. So we need to keep on upgrading, and we need to keep on working on our program to ensure that the Super Falcons remain dominance in African football, and then go to the Europe. And just like we have said, that there's no anywhere in the world now that they are not. I'm not saying Nigeria is not a force to reckon with when it comes to women football. I think we have more credibility, more firepower in the women football even than the men football now.
Very well. I agree with you. To other stories coming out from the FF, where the Nigerian Football Federation has constituted its standing and ad hoc committees. Because 17 standing committees and 3 ad hoc committees. Of course, a whole lot of names in different committees, from finance, internal audit, organizing committee. And while this story broke and I was going through it, one thing I noticed, and while reading these names, I think I was just laughing because most of these names are familiar names. So it's now beginning to look like even the NFF, sorry to use the word, is almost now becoming like maybe a cult or something, because you keep seeing these names over and over and over and over again. So is it like, are these the only people who, when it comes to football administration, that are active, or is it as some people are being deliberately sidelined?
Football, just like the former president of the Nigerian Football Association, football is all about it's a cultist thing, and they always make records to themselves and share with themselves, and that's why you see that if you don't belong to them, you finally find yourself on the list. And if you check the list, like you rightly say, except you are a loyal member. Except you are a loyal member or you belong to the group, you hardly see any other person who is outside that name. Even some few names that you have, some few names will see on the list that appear to be okay. Some few names will see on the list that appear to see. I say yes, okay. Nigeria football are begin to inject more new ideas, more new people into it. It's because those individuals who now see their name have, one way or the other, be able to now come back and to identify with them, and now begin to show them some measure of support. That we are with you, we are loyal, we are loyal. That's why we are now beginning to see them. It's not like a politician. It's like in the normal Nigeria politics. Once a party that win election take all everything and take all. We not say that is the way it's been recycling. All every other person that have anything or one the other. I don't think I don't used to use the way that they are against the current board. Other people who have a critics. So sometimes if someone who criticizes you, it doesn't mean that he's not like you. He like you. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to tell you. He's trying to tell you to do the right thing. Exactly. But most of those people, they perceive them as enemy because they are critics or they are telling you to do the right thing. You don't see any of them on the list. It's only those who are always okay. Like I did, I'm with you. We are here. We are doing what you are doing. Where you are not doing. These are the simple. But one thing is that we hope it's good that they have put up the committee. And we hope that the committee will be up to their responsibility. All we want to see is a change and a positive change that will help on Nigeria, football positive development.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, for the end of the day, it's all about the positive development in Nigerian football. Now, of course, former Super Eagles midfielder John Ogu has joined the, one of the chorusing voices who are asking that Randy Waldron be included in among, one of the coaching staffs of the Super Eagles. Not as the main coach, but for John Ogu, he just feels, why not? If someone has shown that maybe he has what it takes, why not include him to boost, the technical capacity of the Super Eagles? Like you said, on this program, we have been one who have, seriously criticized Randy Waldron's critics. But I think in this World Cup, he went on to show that, well, maybe he just have what it takes, or maybe he has improved on his tactical abilities, because in this World Cup, it's like we saw a different Randy Waldron compared to other competitions or when they were playing friendly matches. And John Ogu has said, well, maybe he has one or two things upstairs, and why not and bring him along to join the technical team of the Super Eagles.
Yeah, just like you say, a whole lot of us see a different one Randy Waldron in this World Cup compared to what we know him for.
Exactly.
It's a complete Randy we see in this World Cup. And John Obu's suggestion idea is not too bad, but some extent we have to look at it. But if at the Nigeria, to me, I'm suggesting that the Nigeria Football Federation needs, if they want to engage him, they can engage him as a technical department of NFL.
Yeah.
To work as a technical department of NFL. But mind you, remember that Randy Waldron still have a job in US.
Yeah.
He's having the Super Eagles, the Super
more like a part-time.
as a part-time job.
Yes.
He has a paid job with the university in US, and very active still active job with the US university in US. So Super Falcon job is just a part-time job that he does, and then to answer that, to engage him at the NFL, it all depends. But if nothing is possible, if he has to agree with that, it should be an agreement that will make him to come and stay here and work with the technical department of the NFL.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, Sport Orbit continues. Stay with us.
Leadership TV for God and country.
Welcome back from that break. It's still Sports Orbit. Of course, still a story about Randy Waldron. This time, he himself has expressed his pride in his players' performances against the Three Lions. And, just like John Ogu said, this time around, he is saying, he would like to stay on as the coach of the Super Falcons. I think after being in charge of this team for some time, I think he has been able to form sort of a kind of bond with the team. And for him, he said, look, I'm proud of this team, and left to him, he won't mind. I mean, he wants to still continue on as the coach of the Falcons.
For that, I agree with that. Apart from the pages. another new person.
Because a
And
new
just like
person now will come with new systems, new everything.
yes.
And sometimes, like you see, sometimes when that bonding, sometimes football is not even about the skills of the players.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's togetherness in a team.
Yes.
Help teams to go far.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. And if you look at the way this Super Falcons play, and if you look at even the Rwanda has brought a lot of new players, new players into the team to marry you with some of the old experienced team, and some of the old experienced players who are in the team. You can see a working synergy between the team and a unity within the team. I think you need to see one of their videos after their match against Australia. The way they are all related, singing together, it's like they are all they see themselves as one family. There's a complete unity in the team, and it shows a unity. You need to keep trust, working relationship, and a compact team together to ensure that they progress. It is better, in my view, it is better to stay with one zone than to think of another thing else. Because he know what he's saying and he know where to press the button. And if you look at the way if you look at most of the players he take in this World Cup, you hardly can point out to any particular player from his first starting 11 to actually that this one is not doing well. So it clearly shows that he has an idea, and we should allow him to stay on the job to ensure that he perfect his idea at the end and to give us the bit to.
All right, to the NNL, that's the Nigerian National League. Of course, yesterday told you that it began yesterday in Kano, and of course it was a harvest of goals because yesterday Sokoto United and FIFAWWC champions of Abuja started it all in a 5-goal thriller, which ended 3-2. Of course, Sokoto United won that one. Then in the other match, highly rated Idel FC of Oka crumbled 4-0 to Hensas of Yenagoa. And of course, the two teams from Lagos, Ikorodu United and Smart City, played out. It was a 1-0 draw in favor of Smart City. So, a whole lot of matches, and it still continues today for the NNL to see which teams will stay in that division and some who will drop down to the nationwide league.
The battle of survival.
Yes.
So everybody's fighting to keep his position. You can see from the match they won, and you can see the hunger. Everybody wants to maintain the status and to remain in their position. And plenty of goals scoring on the match they won. So it is a good idea, and it also serves as a pre-season warm-up for the team. So it's a two-way team. The team are using just one stone to kill. One stone to keep two birds. While you are trying to maintain your status, you're also using this as a warm-up for the upcoming football season.
Right, to some cycling news now, where the second edition of the Cycling Lagos event has been scheduled to hold from October 21st to 28th, 2023. The event has also received the support of the Lagos State Government. Director General of the Lagos State Sports Commission, Oluwatoyin Gafara, who was presented by Kola Olumoses, confirmed this at a press conference in Lagos and said that the edition of Cycling Lagos is primarily meant to help in discovering new talent in the state. So, I mean, we can only say kudos to this because, like we keep saying, even in other sports too, outside of maybe football, basketball, which are the dominant ones, always exciting when you see that events are happening in other sports like this, like cycling and the rest of them.
Yeah, it's a good development, and the current cycling federation in the last is a continuation of the previous board. Got the president that elected. The man is doing a lot, and a lot of cycling events have started coming up both in Abuja and Port Harcourt and now in Lagos. So to me, it's a good development for our sport, the cycling sport. Only all different in this direction.
Right, to some boxing news now. Because Anthony Joshua, yes, he was scheduled to fight this Saturday. That fight will still go on, but it won't be against Dillian White. This time it will be against Robert Helenius at the London's O2 Arena. Initially, Joshua was billed to take on Dillian White, but it was revealed, I think, over the weekend that Dillian White had gone for a drug test and he actually failed that test. And as a result of that, he has been suspended. And Joshua, being that he was mandated to fight already, it's a heavyweight fight. This time he'll be challenging Robert Helenius at O2 Arena on Saturday. So I think it'd be nice to see Joshua once again back in action.
Yeah, it is not. But one thing that is desperation to fight quick, to fight. If you have said to somebody the man you are preparing for suddenly fail a drug test, and now all of a sudden you don't get to open that because there's I'm not a boxer, but I believe that there's a different strategy for every opponent. When you are studying a particular opponent for a match, and all of a sudden you just swing to another opponent. You are not preparing for it, and I hope this will not be catastrophic for him. But we can only wish him well. But if you see lose that man, that picture clearly shows as a dangerous man looking like a tiger. So I pray that Joshua will have his way in this game. But for me, I've suggested that it would have allowed some time to prepare for a particular opponent, not preparing for Alpha, and all of a sudden I have someone in my front.
You know, sometimes what these boxing organizers do is, once you are mandated to fight a certain time, whether that person is ready or not, you are usually given an opponent because it's like a calendar. Because once you have lost your bait, you need to face a couple of people too. Because ultimately, Joshua is supposed to have a few fights because before he faces either Fury or Wilder. So that fight didn't happen. So a fight had to happen. So I think this was just a quick decision that, okay, since that's not happening, why not take on this man? And from there, we can know if your next challenger will be either Fury or Wilder.
Well, I wish Joshua is all I wish to have him back on his feet and back in his main status as a heavyweight champion. Exactly. But looking at this, news, I'm not too comfortable with his status. He looks like a very dangerous tiger. So, and I hope that Joshua will have his way against this old man.
Of course, that match comes up on Saturday, so we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Now, to some transfer news now, where, of course, yesterday it was revealed that Tottenham Hotspurs once again rejected a third bid from German champions Bayern Munich in their attempt to lure Harry Kane to the Bundesliga. Of course, Bayern latest bid exceeded 100 million euros, including performance-related add-ons in that. But Tottenham are yet to budge, but Bayern has also set a deadline of last Friday night for a response and have threatened to move on to other targets if Spurs did not accept the attempt. And of course, Harry Kane, I think last weekend also came out to say once the league starts and if he's not able to move from Tottenham, then he might not be moving because according to him, he feels it'll be an injustice to the team for him to move and when the league has begun. But the way it's going, I don't know. I don't think Tottenham are ready to sell Harry Kane. So come next season, I think Harry Kane might just be playing his trade once again at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
We have just less than 5 days to
exactly
the start of the season. And if this is not done between now and Friday, and just like the based on the Harry Kane stand, it appears that we'll still see him play last season of his career, last season on his contract, and probably go free next season. And I always say that there is no need holding on to player against fish. We saw it how rapid in the case of Pape. Now both of sides are at the element. And now I don't why Tottenham are insisting on holding on to Harry Kane. There are many Hurricanes outside there. All you need to do once is the right price is me agree. Let him go. Use the money and reinvest into the club instead of to hold him against your wish, and it's not giving you the performance related what you want for him. I hope that Tottenham at the end of the day will not blame themselves at the end of the day because it will be very disastrous in my view for them to see Harry Kane go move on freely without them making any one night on top of him next season. And that's the way it's heading to.
Yeah, because
this man now they shouldn't decide the same that by the time they frustrate him to stay and in the middle of the season they'll force him to send a contract. I don't see the Harry Kane sign any contract with Tottenham. So if they now allow him to go now between on Friday, they should be ready to let him go free next season.
Exactly, because clearly free you go, and of course for a striker like Harry Kane, if he's on the free, I can imagine the number of clubs who will be falling over themselves to have him in their ranks. Right, that's that for that, and with that is the end of our show for today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be back with our midweek edition. Do join us once again at 4 p.m. Sanfu, thank you once again for being on today's edition.
Thank you.
Right, until come your way tomorrow, do have a wonderful time out there. My name is Afa Chu. Bye for now.